In this video, I'm going to explain you about what are all the major topics that we require to cover inside this SQL, which is a structured query language. So let us dive into this individual topics. So the first one is DDL, which is generally called as a data definition language, which contains a certain commands like create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename. Means like creating a table and altering a table, drop or truncate, I mean deleting a table or deleting the table data, something similar to that. Next one is a DML, which is a data manipulation language, where here we are going to understand how can we modify the data. Okay, when I'm talking about a modification, you can clearly understand when I'm inserting some data, when I'm updating some data, when I'm deleting some data, these are all things will comes under the manipulation or modification. So this is what we see. We are nowhere talking about creating a table over here. So this is all about the only related with the data. So next one is a transaction control language, TCL. So this control language will contain commit, rollback, and save point. I mean to say, like whenever you say commit, it is nothing but how do we save the data, whatever that we have inserted or updated. Whenever that we do the data manipulation language or something else like that, and rollback or save point, how do we use these commands and all. The next one is the very important command, that is what it is called as a select statement. This is generally called as a DQL, basically the data query language. We can call it as a data query language, where this SQL statement will comes under. So you see this entire column of the things will comes under the SQL statement, which is nothing but the select statement actually here. So this select statement will be the statement which is going to deal with the data limiting and sorting. How do we limit the data? How do we filter the data and sort the data? And we require to understand how do we use the functions along with this select statement while we are selecting some data out of the tables. Number functions, and again inside the functions we have different types of functions, how to implement these functions and all. Character functions, aggregate functions, group by class, actually it's a class, date and time functions, operators. So next one is the operators, is a one more item which is a one more important item that we need to think on, which is like a union, intersect, minus. So different operators, how do we work with that? And the joins, like when we wanted to display the information from the multiple tables, we will be using the joins over here, where like inner join, outer join, self join, we will be learning all these things here. And coming to the subqueries is also one more part, like a very important thing, like where we will be working with the select statement. And next one is a constraints. So constraints, there are different types of constraints. Usually the primary key, I will be explaining you each and every constraint in detail later. Okay, now what are all the list that we do have under the constraints in the SQL here? Primary key, which is completely associated with the Oracle. First of all, I'm talking about primary key, not null, foreign key, check, unique. All these things are different types of constraints that we have available, okay, to work with. And next one is the objects, means creating a view, dropping a view, or creating a sequence. How can we work with a synonym, and what do you mean by an index? All these things will come under this another part. So these are all the different items that we require to cover under this SQL query language, or otherwise structured query language. So in my next video, I'm going to explain you about we will get started with this data definition language.